Everyone jokes about dads coming home with the milk. Well, this is the story of the one time it happened, but in the worst way possible. Welcome to Lore 101. Today we're finishing our talk about the Corpus faction in the game Warframe.
Also, I'm playing D&D live this Saturday. Link in the comments. Too late to scroll away now.
Last episode I introduced you all to the Giga Chad that is Parvos Returns, explained how he built the Corpus up, was betrayed by his own board, and thought to be lost to the void. What was that? Anyways, after their founder's supposed demise, along with the eventual fall of the Orokin, the Corpus board of directors just kind of continued to gain power over the next several hundred years, to the point where at the start of the actual game, they are one of the two largest powers in the Origin system alongside the Scream Queens themselves, the Grineer. While they don't have as much manpower, they make up for this with their cunning, intellect, and just so many types of robots. We got dudes that walk, dudes that fly, dudes that always pull up the laser barrier right as I'm about to walk through, and of course, the best robot boys. However, just like the Grineer Queens, the modern day Corpus are actually the exact antithesis of what they were founded on. The lessons of self-reliance and wisdom have been tossed to the side in favor of growing lazy and spoiled off the backs of others. The board keeps various groups enslaved to debt and strips their soldiers of any personality till they are as copy-pasted as the robots they walk alongside. Parvos Returns himself has been turned into almost a deity-like figure with large statues and tributes being built to honor him and his golden hand. Told you that would come up in part 2. Oftentimes, the early quests revolving around the Corpus just involve you and the rest of the Tenno making sure no one on the board gets too much power. Because if they're constantly wrapped up in infighting, it makes them much less of a threat for now. It's like running a daycare, but every kid is 10,000 nukes. Fusion! I think something's in my vents again. Today, the board of directors is led by a man named Freud Beck, who will get his own video. However, there is another man on the board who desperately wants to be in charge. That man's name is Anyo, otherwise known as the biological son of Parvos Returns. Or at least that's what he says. See, throughout the game, the Tenno have many run-ins with Neff, always foiling his plans while he complains in the background. A notable example came with the colony of Fortuna on Venus, where the Tenno aided a group called Solaris United in rebelling against Neff and his strange choice of drip. At some point, Neff said, "Enough is enough. Mom said it's my turn to lead the Corpus. I invoke the Deadlock Protocol." Essentially, in the Deadlock Protocol quest, Neff makes a power play to take over the Corpus by claiming that he is Parvos Returns' son. But since Parvos obviously isn't there to confirm, Neff needs to prove it by running a genetic test on Parvos' body. But wait, wasn't his body lost to the void? Let all this foreshadowing in, I can't see anything. See, Neff figures out that there might be a chance of finding Parvos' body if he tracks the traces of Protea, Parvos' bodyguard that also went into the void with him. The Tenno know that Neff gaining power would be very bad, so they try to reach Protea before his henchmen can. And thanks to some help from Solaris United, the Tenno succeed, but find this. Now's a great time to reiterate that every Warframe has their own gimmick. Protea's gimmick is every lore master's favorite thing to deal with. Time manipulation, yay! And this has timey-wimey nonsense written all over it. This is the Granum Void. From what I understand, it's a temporal bubble within the void itself that basically stops time inside it from progressing. Inside we find Protea, but also one more face. This place is crazy. Hello. Wait a minute, you're Parvos! I mean, Dad, I'm so happy to see you! At least one of us is. What do you mean? Well, how would you feel if you got to spend the last several hundred years stuck in a bubble watching your empire be perverted by idleness originating even from someone you despise to call your own blood? I don't understand. See, I've had a lot of time to think in this space created by my darling Protea to save me. Now that I have a chance of freedom, I think I'm going to start by grounding you so hard Obsidian is going to make a sequel. You can't talk to me that way. Kind of starting to feel awkward just sort of standing here. Protea, dear, haunt they ass.
Haunting their ass.
Long story short, hundreds of years of keeping this bubble going has driven Protea a bit insane. So she starts sending a bunch of hostile specters to destroy Anyo's entire space fleet. Which would normally be good, but that would also destroy a bunch of Solaris United people in the process, so we kinda help. We fight Protea, beating her with something called the Zorus. Yes, this is a melee weapon frisbee. Yes, it is classified as a glaive in game, and that blue rim, Yeah, that's made using Spectre technology. You know, the thing Parvos invented in Part 1. Which is kind of like fighting Elon Musk with a Tesla. The comedy writes itself. However, while we're fighting, this dude takes the opportunity to escape back into the normal solar system. And once he's out, he wastes no time. After we stop Protea and save the Solaris United people, we find out that Parvos has set about to either restructure the modern day Corpus or make his own. And it seems like he's doing the second thing. Soon after the Deadlock Protocol quest, several Corpus territories and captains become a part of what is known as Granum Space. He also creates a group of super soldiers armed with powerful Warframe Spectre Hounds and destructive Tenant weaponry. And he calls them the Sisters of Parvos. Remember him wanting a sister in Part 1? Yup. At his right hand, overseeing the sisters, is Vala Glorios, a Corpus captain he rescued from the Void after she lost a fight with a ghost spaceship, and that's all the context you're getting on that for right now. So if you've played all the quests, that brings us mostly to the present, where the Corpus are essentially divided, it seems, as some still following the board, some following the Chad Parvos, who, may I remind you, spent hundreds of years trapped in the Void, baited you into freeing him, immediately created a power schism with the faction partially being run by his disappointing Nepo baby, and is now creating the system's most terrifying legion of girl bosses. And mind you, he's just a dude. Sure, he's probably gotten enhancements over the years, but in a world of extremely hyper-powered beings, this man just seems to Batman them at every turn. Which is why, while I would disagree with some of his morals, he is still one of my favorite written characters in the game. Because every time he comes on screen, I am at attention because I have no idea where the pieces are gonna fall. Even when he first escaped the Granum Void, he actually sends you a message inviting the Tenno and Solaris United to help him rebuild the Corpus, which is very interesting to me. As his philosophy states, from fire to fusion to void and onwards, he shall continue to pursue his desire of progress, no matter the risks or violence. So while the board might be manageable, woe to any who would oppose Parvos and his Corpus, for they may find themselves one day sleeping in the cold below. La, da, la, da, 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 da.